answer to that.
Well, we know how.
We know the answer to that. So
that was the question is, how good was he in that offense?
So that makes me think, like I said, suspect about the coaching staff. Should he really have been a head coach? Did he take on more than what he thought he was taking on? Because with that being said, what he did with the quarterback situation, it seemed like when we talked about that LaMarcus Aldridge issue way back when, I don't want to go be the man. I just want to fit in. So in this instance, it's kind of like, I don't really want to go and handle everything. I want to make it as easy as possible for me.
Let me pass it off.
And then I can pass off and everything will be on him as a quarterback. You know, he's got the double edge like me. I got a scapegoat. This is my first year as head coach of ABC. Jay Cutler, on the other hand, could very easily be pushed into that hot seat. You familiar with the offense? You played, so what's the problem here? You know, that learning curve for both of them is right. He could easily push that to the side and say, look, listen, he knows the offense. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, he can. He can do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Drop that baggage off on Jay Cutler, but then everyone else would question his decision making on getting them anyway. So the question would be, okay, you can drop that baggage off on him, but the question is, why did you pick him?
Absolutely.
You know, why? Where there were suitable quarterbacks out there who could have picked up your system and probably done
a little bit better.
A lot better.
Yeah, a lot better. If
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to simplify your offense to suit what you have on that football field, by all means, do it.
Yeah.
But you getting a guy that's familiar who really couldn't execute your offense before, unless you're bringing him in to create and sculpt a new product. That's different. You brought him in there to play.
Gave him $10 million.
And you knew what he could do as a player.
And you paid him.
And you paid him.
A lot of money.
A lot of cash.
Yes, indeed. So, ex-MLB star Albert Bell was arrested for indecent exposure.
Come on, Albert.
I didn't read the whole article yet, but, you know, as I'm gathering information, that's one of the first things that comes to me. It's on Bleacher Report. It's probably all over the place now. And I hope
DUI.
I hope it's
DUI.
It was
as
a
well
DUI.
as well as
and
indecent
the DUI.
exposure.
So, come on, Albert.
You driving under influence.
People, we got to do better.
Come on, Fat Albert. Oh,
we got to do better, Albert. I'm shocked and appalled.
51, man. Y'all here flashing 51-year-old action, man, out here on these streets.
51 years old, man. You know better.
Half a century worth of action out here on these streets. Half a decade. I mean, half a century of action out here on these streets, man.
You know
just
better.
flashing.
Oh, well.
Flashing.
All we can say is, folks, we have to do better.
Come on.
Have to do better. In local high school basketball, PIAA 6A championship, 2 Philly teams.
Yes, sir.
A rematch of a game from March the 3rd. Got Lincoln versus Roman.
Yep. Shout out to my man Mel, one of the coaches, little Mike over there at Roman. That's gonna be a good game.
It's gonna be a good game. I mean, like we said, Lincoln defeated them on March the 3rd, 86-76.
Yep.
And from what I understand, from what I heard about that game, it was a size advantage in favor of Lincoln, and Roman really couldn't handle the size down the stretch.
And it also was, I think I watched about maybe 7 Roman games. I probably was at maybe 4 or 5 Lincoln games. And after watching that Roman game against Lincoln, they came out flat. They wasn't ready. They weren't prepared. I think their high note was the week before when they won the Catholic League title, beating, I think, Bonner. And, you know, I think at that time, they pretty much ran through everybody, and Roman beat them. And kind of seemed like that was their Super Bowl.
Okay.
And some people kind of overheard some people after the Lincoln game, after Lincoln beat them, saying, well, we ain't worried about that, we won the Catholic League championship. And so now they have a chance to get back, redo what they doing, try to see if that first game was just a lack of paying attention, a lack of preparedness.
Right.
Because that's what I was getting from other coaches, other people that were in the building that kind of mentioned that they don't look prepared.
Okay.
So, I mean, either way, you got to show up and play the game anyway. And shout out, like I said, shout out to my man Mel over at Lincoln for the past 3-4 years. I had talked to him on Instagram, and I told him, I said, listen, man, people don't understand that grind, know, and the grind that they put in over the years to build that program is real. He called it pit bull training. That's what they call it, pit bull training.
Well, keep it up, bro.
And they rolling right now, and, and listen, they didn't run through the pub. They didn't just go undefeated. I watched them lose to Frankfurt.
And they did what Uprising, about to be good team, do.
Right.
They peaked at the right time.
They peaked at the right time, and they learned how to finish games later on. I watched them against the Frankfurt game at Frankfurt. Jamie Ross coaching over Frankfurt, because we used their gym, and we just happened to come in the gym because we were on at 6, and the game went a little later, and our kids, our youth, got a chance to see some high school basketball at a high level.
Good experience.
And I watched them get a little emotional at the end of the game, and they lost the game. Okay. And I think they might have went on like a 6 or 7 game win streak after that. So it was refocusing, and then once they refocused, they've been rolling. They've been in tight games and finished tight games, and that builds character. When your team has been up, then go down, then go up, then go down, and then learn how to finish games out. Because in your brain, you're like, oh, we got this. We've been here before.
Yep. Look at the
We've been here before. Yep.
Look at our Sixers. We'll get to them in a little bit.
And Constitution.
Right.
Champ, one of our coaches over at Bearcats, that's his son. Champ is one of the leading scorers on the team. So, they kind of the same way. They lost a few games down the stretch, and now they in the showdown. Everybody gonna be in Hershey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's shout out to Philadelphia basketball, man.
I was just getting ready to say that.
Yeah,
man,
for being able to represent, man.
And well representing for, I'm stretching maybe a little bit, the last 4, 5, 6 years, if not more. I'm sure it's more, but just to throw a number out there. And it is super great to see, because you and me both know when we was in school, we didn't go to the States.
Nah, didn't. Wasn't able to.
And we always got that lame excuse. There's too many schools in the city. Well, look at them now.
And this is why
the same schools that was there back then, and now you got all these charter schools. So look at us now. Shout outs to Philly basketball, all the coaches, all the players for doing what y'all doing. Keep it up, man. It's a beautiful thing to see you guys accomplish so much through a sport, a game that you love to play.
And people, they didn't want us in. They didn't want us in to have a chance to win the states. And what did they do over the next 10 years? They recruited our coaches to come out of our city,
and even came back into our city and made some of our school gyms super sites. So
there's something going on here.
Something going on there.
Something going on here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Something
going on here. Some specials in this city.
Yeah.
There's so much talent in this city.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it all boils down to what these coaches are teaching these kids. That's what all it boils down to.
Yep. Absolutely. And now that we're on the message of this, reaching out and speaking about these coaches and these young athletes, do not forget April the 30th. It's the last Monday in April, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here, SportsRap. We will be presenting as much information, as much pertinent information as possible on the NCAA recruiting process. I'll have a nice little spectrum of guests planned. A couple of them already are confirmed. I'm still waiting for one who has to check it. So Jay, you know, JC, Jay, check it. And I understand, Jay. I'm telling you, you gotta do what you do. But if you can make it, it'd be great to have you come in. Also, when you get a minute, I know you're doing your work because we talked. Send me a list of who you're working with. The draft is coming up. Give me a little hint, bro. Keep it in the family, all right? I won't tell anybody. I'm gonna tell everybody. Now, Jay, if you tuned in, when you get a second, just, you know, on a friendly note, just shoot me a list. Let me know who you're working with. You know, I like to keep on track of what our friends and family members of the show are doing. But again, folks, April the 30th, coaches, players, parents, all who want to be involved, it will be constant information coming on social media, on the air every Monday. Up until then, we will announce it, we will talk about it. But I'm doing this in light of the recent NCAA scandal that we all know is going on. And like we said before, when the Sean Miller incident came out a couple weeks ago, right before the NCAA tournament, a lot of people at that point thought that it had smoothed over, just died down. No, it just died down a little bit. That didn't mean there wasn't no investigation still going on. I mean, you got the feds involved. The feds don't stop.
Right.
The feds is going. They can get their man, and then they can have a thought, look, well, we got him. But what about that other dude that never came up dirty and all of this? Let's watch him and see what he does now.
Yep.
You know, so with the FBI involved, it's always something going on.
And it's never over. Like
Never over. Now, before we take our first break, I'm going to give you these scores from the NBA last night. And I'm also going to tell you who is in the Final Four, because that's what we'll be picking up next after our break. So here we go. NBA Sunday. Cleveland defeats Brooklyn 121-114. The Bucks defeat the Spurs 106-103. Indiana tops Miami 113-107. The Knicks, surprisingly, and thank you, Knicks, for beating the Washington Wizards 101-97. The Clippers defeat the Raptors. Tough loss for Toronto, 117-106. Boston defeats Sacramento 104-93. Portland tops OKC in a crazy game last night, 108-105. The Hawks fall to the Rockets 99-118. And the Golden State Warriors fall to the Utah Jazz 110-91. Folks, you are tuned in to Sports Rap. We will be back in a few. We'll pick up with our NCAA March Madness Final Four segment. Stay tuned. We'll be back.